Welcome into the Recruiting Roundup. Scout.com's Jason Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. We bring the latest in Arizona high school football recruiting and do so year-round. Last week, we brought out the crystal ball and tried to predict the latest commitments. We had another one this week, and well, Jason, we were both wrong, but you weren't that far off in your prediction.
Yeah, I picked Nathan Eldridge from Boulder Creek to commit to Arizona. Well, it was another North Valley kid, Jamison Pruitt from O'Connor, committing to another in-state school in NAU. So the Lumberjacks getting Pruitt is their first commitment of their class, their first in-state kid, and it's a good one. He was highly coveted, was recruited by Montana, UC Davis, and also had an FBS offer from Air Force. It came down to NAU and Air Force, and Jamison told me he just wanted to stay at home. His goal was to play at NAU. He said the only other offer that would beat it was the University of Arizona. Wildcats did not offer. Takes the offer from NAU.
And Jamison Pruitt and NAU just continues to bring in talent that's comparable to some really good Division I programs.
They have done a much better job over the last 3 or 4 years. You know, applaud to Coach Sowers saying, hey, we want to build a fence around Arizona, and they've done a much better job of getting in-state kids in the last 3 or 4 years.
So that's the latest commitment. Jamison Pruitt from O'Connor commits to NAU. Getting closer to a commitment is Cassius Peat. He narrows down his top 6, although I don't think he'll make his decision for a while. What are the 6 schools, and which ones kind of stand out to you for the Corona Star?
Well, he has 3 Pac-12 schools and then a few other schools from different conferences. He has Arizona State, Oregon, and UCLA are his Pac-12 schools. Then Michigan State, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. Now, we're pretty familiar with those Pac-12 schools because they've come into Arizona and recruited very heavily. Now, some of the other schools, Texas A&M, Michigan State, and Oklahoma, have done a decent job, or actually a good job, of getting some quality players out of the state of Arizona. So I think they're going to stay. They're here to stay. They're going to come back and keep recruiting as long as this little pipeline comes and they keep getting commitments out of the state.
And all 3 of those non-Pac-12 schools, Oklahoma has over the years, but all 3 have landed big-time prospects out of Arizona in just the last couple of years.
You look at Michigan State, who has a commitment right now. He hasn't signed yet, from Brian Lewerke, the quarterback out of Pinnacle. Texas A&M landed one of the top players in the state last year in Quaylen Cunningham out of Hamilton. So if these schools and their top level programs, top 25 schools, they keep recruiting here in the state, I think it's just a good thing for the state of Arizona and for the student athletes here.
Yeah, and then Oklahoma and Texas A&M added the Desert Mountain duo of Mark Andrews and Kyle Allen as well. So that's Cassius Peat's top 6. We'll monitor his progression as the season moves along. Now let's get to some of the offers, Jason. Navy has come in and offered 2 prospects from here in Arizona.
2 under-the-radar guys that I really like. First, the cornerback, Liberty's Corey Wilson, first offer from Navy. We had a camp at Glendale Community College with the University of Arizona not too long ago, and Corey ran the fastest 40 time. He ran a 4.5 on the grass in cleats. Very impressive. Tall, long kid that has the ability to play safety. Then Navy offered Marcus Edwards, big D tackle down at Sabino. It's not his first offer because he has an Ivy League offer from Cornell, but it's his first FBS offer.
And you mentioned Corey Wilson, just another note. We also talked about Mark Andrews. Those 2 trained together in this offseason, working together, so that's taking Corey Wilson's game to a whole nother level. Now, finally, the last offer to bring Jason, Cameron Johnson. He picks up another offer.
Yeah, it was offered by Wyoming. Add that to, he also has UNLV, he has South Dakota State, and Montana. The intriguing thing about this, we've seen Cameron, he can play, he's versatile, can play running back, he can play safety. Everyone's recruiting him as a running back other than Wyoming. The Cowboys offered him as a safety.
Interesting note about Cameron Johnson. One final thing to hit on before we call it a day here on the Recruiting Roundup. Let's get back to a former Recruiting Roundup player we mention quite often, Devin Allen, the star out of Brophy. He, over the weekend, became the national champion at the professional level in the 110 hurdles with their time of 13:16, piggybacking that after an NCAA championship in that event, a national championship with Oregon as a team, and a Pac-12 crown. Could you have ever envisioned Devin Allen to break out onto the scene this quickly?
I could envision him, yes, breaking out and being this good, but not quite this early. I mean, what a spring he had. He was doing spring ball and then to come out, and now he's a national champ, one of the best in the country. Now, when he was a prepster, he was one of the best in the nation in the hurdles, one of the best in the world in the hurdles. So it doesn't surprise me that he's had this success, just it's happened so early.
He right now has the 3rd fastest time in the world in the 110 hurdles. Pretty impressive feat. We're happy for Devin Allen, the former Arizona prospect. That's it for this week's edition of the Recruiting Roundup. That's Jason Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. This has been the Recruiting Roundup on Sports360AZ.com.